Hey everybody, welcome to the show today. Today we have an extra special, exclusive, VIP, platinum edition show, man. I feel like extremely blessed today. Today we got Victor Barrera, which you all are going to know as the Duke from the movie The Duke of Earl. Hey Victor, thank you, man, for coming out there. Appreciate you, Carnal, for joining us, and man, you're one of the first ones to lay it down and hit that screen. And man, I'm telling you, you killed it as the Duke. And man, we just really appreciate you, putting it out there, man, and just doing it like that.
I appreciate it. It's been a number of years, but people still watch it, and still, if I go somewhere, they'll still like, hey, what's up? They'll still like, hey, what's up? So they'll talk to me about the movie, and it gives me opportunity to share the gospel, the testimony of how God, saved me, and where He took me and what I've been doing and stuff. So it is a blessing,
Yeah, that's great. That's great. When was that film? Well, you guys did the play first, right? Run me through how you guys did that.
We did the play like in '81, and we did it all the way to like '84, like 3-4 years, and we did it live on stage. It was 10 minutes. It was a little skit. We did it for 10 minutes, and then after that, it started growing and started going to 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and then it went past an hour, like hour and 20 minutes, full production. And as we started getting better at it, then our pastor would start to add on more, like guns and fake blood and all that kind of stuff, So it just got better and better as we got, and we were, he would take us to his house and we would watch other movies, and watch the actors and see how and we over and over. So, he kind of taught us just by watching other movies, how they acted, how they reacted. And so for 4 years, we were like clockwork. After a while, if somebody forgot a line, then somebody else would step in, So it was like we all knew each other. So when we filmed the movie, it was just like natural, like we were doing it forever. It was just a camera in front of us. But we were doing it like, we have been doing it for so long that it was easy,
Second nature.
Yeah, it was like second nature, yeah.
So let's take it back to, let me ask you, like, where were you born? Where were you raised?
Born right here in San Jose, raised in San Jose. I grew up in foster homes, So I didn't have, I guess I was like 3 years old. They took me away from my mom for whatever reason. And then I ended up in foster home until like about 15, and then I ran away and started living. I found my real mom, biological mom. I stayed with her like a year and then went on my own, So
So
it was a little journey in the beginning,
Yeah.
When you don't have a mother, you don't have a father, it's like, who am I? Where am I going? Where's all this leading to? So, it's not like you have a mother and a father, you grow up, you eat dinner together and all that. It's like you have nothing, So, and you notice it, So that's when you start getting like bitter or angry or full of hatred or chip on your shoulder and I don't care attitude. So it makes a big impact.
Yeah, that's true. Did you like grow up like in the gang culture in a barrio, or were you?
Yeah, when I grew up in the 70s. So there was not like, in San Jose, there was just east side, west side, south side, north side. There wasn't like, okay, this barrio, that barrio. It was just like, you could go any side of town, any party, and everything was cool, You weren't gonna get in a fight, and it was no, where you from? It wasn't like that, If you had a cousin or a homeboy lived on the west side, you went to a party, everything was good. There wasn't violence like later on in the years, in the 80s, it started getting harder and harder. But in the 70s, it was just like they used to have a slogan, peace, love, and tranquility, or something like that.
Yeah.
But that's what it was, peace and love, and get high, and everybody was cool, and, we used to go cruising, and we'd see another carload, we slowed down and then we would talk, and we didn't even know each other. Like, where's all the parties at? Oh, there's a party over here. There's a party over there. And that's the way it was. It wasn't like, I'm going to go kill you, or, it wasn't like that at all. Zero, So
Yeah.
it was a different It was a different era, a different generation.
Yeah, that was more like 60s, 70s, more like the hippie area, right?
Yeah,
Like the peace, love, and happiness, like you were saying.
Right.
Yeah, that's a trip. So, like living that gang life and doing all that. How did you become saved?
I got saved by. It went back to like in the I think 77 or something. I remember cruising around and it was like 3 in the morning, but my life was going like all kinds of different directions. So what happened was I pulled over at some school on the east side. I pulled over and parked there, and I got out the car and I sat on the grass. It was like 2, 3 in the morning, and I had a quart of beer, and I'm drinking it. And then I'm like praying to God at the same time, like, God, help me out. My life's going here. My life's going all over the place. I said a sincere prayer, but, I said a lot of prayers. So that day after that, I jumped back in the car and that was that. I didn't think twice about it until a couple of years later, I started to meet different people and they started talking to me about the Lord, and eventually I got saved. I was staying at a friend's house, and he knew Pastor Ed, and then that's how I met him. And then he's the one that took me into his house and kind of discipled me, mentored me, and helped me along the way.
Oh, okay. So that's how you met Pastor Ed.
Yeah, that's how I met him. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big change your life, huh? Like,
right.
First of all, like meeting or getting that relationship with God, and then God putting Pastor Ed in your path was like a really good foundation, huh?
Yeah, it was like it was just like God put it all together. And that's what I tell people, God can get your life from the ashes, whatever lifestyle you live at, and bring it all, back together, back the way it's supposed to be, when God puts his hand upon you. And the crazy thing about it, that place where I parked at, that school where I parked at, I cried out to God. And then a couple years later, after I got saved, we rented that school for a church, and that was one of the first places where we did Duke of Earl live on stage. It was a little elementary school, seat about 200, but that's where we did the play at. And there I was doing the play, and people, they had an altar call, people gave their life to God. And I thought about that a few years later at that very same school. The door was right there. That's where I cried out to God. And a couple of years later, that's where we were doing Duke of Earl. Yeah, it's crazy. And not only that, but after that, when I got married in that same school where I had cried out to God outside a few years earlier. I got married to my wife, Espy, and we've been married 40 years. But it was like I cried out to God at that school, and then we had church at that school. We did Duke of Earl at that school. And then I got married at that same school. And every time I walk out of school, I would look at that spot. That's where I prayed right there. That's where I cried out to God. It was like God put everything together, and then started to show me, if you serve me, if you follow me, just, I always have my hand upon you. And he's always had, through all these years, he's always had his hand upon me.
That's an amazing story right there, and congratulations on the 40 years.
Oh yeah, 40 years.
You don't hear about that these days, and congratulations on that, and congratulations on being safe too.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
So it sounds like, man, like you said, you cried out to God in that spot, and it just seemed like that was the epicenter of everything else, all the blessings to come to you. You know what I mean? That's an amazing story.
Yeah.
So how did the Duke of Earl play come about, and how did you wind up getting the lead role in that?
Well, the play started, we were going to YA in Stockton, and our pastor wanted to do something different. He didn't want to do a choir. He didn't want to go to the Bible study. He didn't want to dress up in a suit, So he says, let me do a skit. So we went and did the skit. And we did other skits too, 18 with a Bullet and these other skits, that just were like, street life skits, And then from there, Duke of Earl hit, and it started growing more and more and more. And, the play started expanding from 10 minutes to 15 to 20 to an hour and 20 minutes. So, and the more we did it, the more, people started coming all the time. We would make flyers, just handwritten flyers. Like back in the day, you make a handwritten flyer, a party flyer.
Yeah.
Hey, we're at a party, get together. That's the way we did it. And people came. came, and God was just in the midst of it, you know.
Yeah.
And the church people, like church people, never seen anything like it, you know. Now you see people doing plays and dramas, but no one ever seen that, you know, dancing and, you know, oldies and smoking oregano, pretending it's weed, fake beer, but it looks real from the audience. And the church people, they were just tripped out like, this is not God. This is of the devil. You guys are doing this. You guys are doing that. They used to stand outside and pass out flyers to their church.
Yeah.
Because they didn't have no clue, but God was in the midst of it. We went down to like their level, the people's level, and people were getting saved, you know. And they were just, I mean, we used to stand there and we could see the people, and they'd be crying, guys and girls crying, just crying. Because when God touches you, you can't stop. You can't stop God's, you know, your tears from coming out. It's just God's power and God's love upon your life, you know.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
You know how people like, they see somebody crying and they feel like that's a sign of weakness, you know, or they feel like, who made you cry? What went wrong? And it's not. It's just God's love that hits you in the heart and makes you, those are like tears of joy, you know what I mean? And so that's amazing. I know when I grew up watching the Duke of Earl, my homeboys would come over to my house and we'd sit there and watch it. And every time we'd be like reenacting scenes, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
All the time. We knew it from forward and backwards and everything. But deep down inside, you know what I mean? Those seeds were being planted in our hearts. And like, here we are, you know what I mean? So many years later that I can talk about a lot of scenes off the top of my head and I know a lot of the lines but the most of all, I got God's love out of that movie, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what I was telling you earlier, man. Thank you for doing that because you and Pastor Ed, you know what I mean? Pastor Ed's vision, that Holy Spirit that moved him to create this, you know what I mean? You guys doing this together, just amazing, just amazing.
Yeah, and even to this day, when I see people and they see me from the movie, they won't say hi. They'll do a scene from the movie.
Yeah.
You know, they're like, that's like, hey, you know, Chile Willy and Conejo and this and that, you burned me, blah, blah, blah. And they'll do the whole thing, you know.
Yeah.
I was just kissing them. And they'll just keep on going and going and going. And then finally I'm like, hey, what's up? And then, you know, it gives me an opportunity to talk to them. But yeah, it's like one of those movies, you know, everyone has favorite movies, but that movie is like one of those, like, it just stayed in people's hearts, you know, they didn't forget about it, you know, it's like, they grew up with it, you know, so it's pretty powerful.